Okay, hello everybody. So welcome to today's coaching call. I'm going to come to you one at a time, so I will start off with you, Lionel. So Lionel, have you got a headset attached? Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you.
So how are things with you?
Okay. Yeah, a couple of questions. So one, really, I've got a lot of ads. I've been deleting a lot of ads because there was sort of too many and so on, and we're mixed up between the two campaigns. But I've deleted quite a few. But now I have 59 ad groups that are disapproved, one empty ad group, and 382 ad groups without targeting.
Right, okay.
I was just wondering how to fix all that.
Right, okay, sorry, the line's really not the clearest. I was trying to turn the volume up, but I'm not quite sure. Can you hear me okay?
Maybe I just wasn't close enough to. I
Yeah.
can hear you just fine. Maybe I wasn't close enough to the mic because it's kind of reading off a notepad at the same time.
Right,
Is
okay.
that better now?
Yeah, well, I can kind of hear you slightly, so, well, mainly, so, right, okay, so we've got problems, do you mean these problems here? So is it these
Yes,
problems that you're
yes,
worried
I do.
about? Right, okay. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ads disapproved, okay, so, and then the disapproval reason, if you hold your mouse over here, it will tell you what the
Yeah, yeah,
disapproval
yeah.
reason is. Okay,
Done
so,
that.
and so
But
what,
whenever I go into the ad,
yeah,
to do with the display URLs and so on, but whenever I
yeah,
go into the ad, maybe you click on the edit part of the under ad. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it all seems to be the same target URL, so I don't understand how that's wrong.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because there is a forward slash at the end. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see
Where it
that,
says
yeah.
.com forward slash. I'm wondering
Yeah.
if there is also a forward slash at the end there. No, there is. So they are exactly the same. Okay, so no, I think I recommended last time that you contact Google and ask them about that. So have you managed to get hold of Google?
Yeah, I have actually, and the last time I spoke to them, there was actually lots more ads disapproved, and they actually sorted it out for me.
Good,
So
brilliant.
that was
What did they
fine,
say was
but I
causing
didn't
it?
learn anything from it.
Yeah, I reckon it must be a
Well, yeah, the
bug
same
in their
thing,
system.
basically, yeah. Uh, But I say that fixed them for then. Since then, I say I deleted more ads, and this seems to have sort of resulted in these
Yeah. Okay, well, it
problems.
sounds like
But
they know how to fix it. So if you contact Google again, because obviously there's nothing that you can do your end, because there's nothing actually wrong. It sounds like a bug in their system. So contact them again.
okay,
Yeah. Okay. So and
and
then it was
the same apply for the other
same with ad groups
empty ads.
without any targeting. Okay. So this one, so need to add keywords.
They-
So let's go.
they're probably been ads that I have deleted or attempted to delete. One
Ah,
of the
right.
commercial
Okay.
that was for a portrait photographer, and I probably deleted that, I would think, out of the commercial campaign.
Right. Okay.
But it has resulted in it being um,
Yeah, it just means that these don't have any keywords in, so that's what it's just saying, is that you need to remember to go and put the keywords in. So you'll need to actually go and add the keywords into the ones that are saying that. So that's what's happened there.
yeah.
Sounds like when
That,
you've moved it across, it's it's come across without the keywords, so that's what's happened.
Yeah, well, that's just one the empty ad group, isn't it?
It
One
was an empty one, yes.
yeah, yeah. There's only one of them. I'm not really all that worried that I can sort that out, I think. But the other one, the ad groups without targeting, there's 382 of them. Now, as I say, I think most of them are probably ad groups that I have attempted to delete out of the commercial campaign.
Right, okay.
So therefore, I mean, if I can select them and just successfully delete them, that'll probably, well, I mean, I'll have to have a look at them first to make sure.
Mm.
I think that's what the answer is going to be. But it's just how to go about that, and how to check that out.
Yeah, okay, well obviously the problem is that they need keywords, so yeah, once you pop keywords in, it'll fix them.
No, but you're talking about the ones without targeting there. On the side, there's 104.
Yeah.
Without
Sorry, am I
targeting, yeah.
misunderstanding
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
So we've
without
got
targeting.
104 without targeting, so that just means they need keywords.
Okay, right, yes, no, I misunderstood you then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I click on view,
Yeah. Okay,
uh,
it's just telling us that we
when I
need
get
keywords.
to this stage then, when I get to this stage, you know, how do I see what it's covered? How do I know, first of all, which campaign they were in?
Well, if you use the Google AdWords editor, then you'll be able to identify. So if I look at AdWords editor here, for example, right, this is one I've just been doing for Mark, funnily enough, who's on the line, and I'll be showing him that, demoing this, possibly, if Mark wants me to in a minute. But basically, you would be able to, so if you use the AdWords editor and watch all the videos for how to use the AdWords editor, then each ad group will actually show you, it have a yellow symbol next to it if they don't have keywords. So you'll be able to pick each one, click on it, and there will be a little yellow error button that shows you that you need to go in and add keywords, and in which case you would just go and start adding keywords to it. So the AdWords editor is probably your best bet there.
Okay. And there's a video one that I haven't seen the video one. Is that hmm.
Okay, it's yeah, it's in the system. Let me just go and show you where it is.
Okay. Okay, I'll find it, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay, so shall I leave you to find it?
Yeah,
Or did you want me to show you?
Find it, hopefully.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's okay, thanks. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it does sound like they're just, the messages from Google aren't the most helpful, definitely. But it is just a case of making sure that you add the right keywords. And if there's keywords missing, then it does come up with errors. So that's obviously what's happened here, is it's been moved across without keywords or something like that. So yeah. Okay. So was that your questions today?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, thanks.
Yeah, okay, so that's obviously, basically you're going to be fixing these yellow errors, so the disapproved ones they'll need to fix.
Okay, they need to fix the disapproved ones, and I need to check out the video on using the AdWords editor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I will pop you back on mute for now then. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so Fergal, coming to you next. Fergal, have you got a headset? Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yes, very well, yeah.
Good. I just want to give you a shout there. I subscribed to the AdWords there about 2 months ago. Unfortunately, I haven't actually managed to get around to doing very much of it, apart from doing some of the lists of the keywords. And I was doing some of the Facebook advertising, but getting fairly low conversion rates from people clicking on the site. I'm not sure actually if this is an unrelated discussion for Facebook. I'm not sure if they're on the Facebook ads, if they're just clicking on the like the Facebook page, or if they're actually clicking on the ad to the website.
I can obviously discuss Facebook on our AdWords call today. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can I give you a shout just about getting set up? I've scheduled just a phone conversation for next Wednesday.
Yes, yeah, I've just seen your confirmation come through that you've booked in for next Wednesday. So yeah, that's no problem. Yeah.
Okay, great. And so then anything specific I should do a bit of a keyword list for that in advance, or?
Well, you can do. I mean, it is. You might want to. Well, have you had anything running at all in AdWords so far? Is there anything for me to audit first?
No, there isn't. No.
No.
But
okay.
if you were able to look at the website, that'd be brilliant as well, actually.
Right. Okay. Perhaps you could send me an email asking me to do that then, if that's okay. Because then I'll put that in my to-do list, ready for the call that we've got next Wednesday. Because normally I would do an audit before the call, but obviously because there's no audit, I can just take a look at the website instead. So I think I did see your site once, but I will take another look at it again.
Yeah, I may have edited since then anyway. So, but okay, great. I'll send you an email about that.
Okay, no problem. Right, well, I'll speak to you next Wednesday.
That's great. Thanks very much, Claire.
Okay, yeah, bye for now then.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so Mark, coming to you next. How are things with you, Mark? Oh, I've got a question box flashing, which might mean that Mark's unable to actually speak to us. Let's just have a double check. Okay, so he says he can't speak, Sally, but you can type. Right, okay. So, Mark, it might be a good idea to get a headset. You can buy them from Amazon for a few pounds. That's where I tend to get mine. So that if you've got any questions about any of the AdWords campaigns or the ad groups, etc., you can ask me questions directly. So maybe you could grab that by next week. Right, so I will move off of Mark and on to Martin. So, Martin, are you there?
Yes, I am, Claire.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, nice to finally speak to you, and nice to hear that the previous person hadn't done a great deal on AdWords, so it's not making me feel quite so guilty now.
Bless you.
And I've done his audit, so I feel like I'm a little bit more advanced.
Yes, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but looked at your audit. As you well know, I've had AdWords running for some years now and been very successful from it. It's declined vastly over the last probably 3 to 6 months with all the new things that have been introduced to Google and the way you search, etc., etc. I'm totally ignorant to it, got to be honest with you, because it worked so well, didn't need to touch it, got somebody else to do it for me, as I told you before. Looking deeper into it now, when you first done the audit for me, I just looked at it and it just completely went over my head, and I just thought, this is going to be quite a reasonable amount of time to sort. I was expecting easy thing, which is completely wrong, obviously. You know, you've got something dealing with. So what I did basically, and I probably advise other people to do the same actually, is went through every single video. I didn't only go through it once, I went through it about 4 or 5 times making notes.
Bless you, good idea, yeah.
And each time I'd done the notes, I reduced the questions down because I'd answered my own question by watching it again, because it is quite overwhelming for people, in fairness.
Absolutely,
as a
yeah.
layperson. And it is quite daunting to come on to these type sessions as well. I'm sure that everybody's done this the first time will probably say exactly the same thing, you know. So yeah, moving on to the questions, I sort of just made a list in each sort of section really, but I don't want to, you know, obviously I don't know how many people you've got on, so I don't want to be hogging their time. So I'll try and keep it as brief as I can. And
Yes, yeah.
Move on to somebody else who's equally as you know, needs it, then fair enough. But you know, going through the video 2, understanding keywords, the search phrases you need for your product. Now, you know, the way you put it in there is, do I just need to make one search phrase, or do I make multiple? Because with what we do and how many different products we supply, there could be thousands of keywords from that. Would it be better to use the most common search phrase first of all, work around that one, and then add keywords to it first of all? Because I'm kind of finding that there's, you know, just the start off point with just, you know, the negative and positive keywords could be a big sort of like step in itself, and I want to move on a little bit quicker than that and get something working, you know, and work on that basis.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Well, the trouble with using the most common search keywords is that they'll also be the most expensive, and they'll be the ones that everybody else is bidding on.
Absolutely.
So, so be aware of that. So really, building a list of hundreds or thousands of keywords is where the win will be for you, because that's where you'll then end up with adverts specifically tailored to those keywords, and you'll beat the competition. So if possible, do as much research as possible. You know, it is my advice, so that you build quite a big list. So, you know, does that help?
With these positive words that you discriminate on the keyword list, not the keyword planner. With those, I mean, there's already a bid on there. Do you stick to the bid that's on there? You know, they're not particularly high, because you were sort of saying testing them and see what comes back. Do you really need to do that if you already know for that word what the maximum bid is, or do you still test them?
Well, you could accept Google's recommendations, but it will also really vary by area. So Google obviously is only picking up a general rule, a general series of bid prices that it's suggesting. Your competition might be stronger than that in the local area, because you might have lots of people in your area bidding on that particular term, for example, whereas Google's just giving an average across the country.
It's not a researched bid, it's a suggested bid then?
It is a suggested bid, yeah.
Yes, I see. So
and you can always change it as well afterwards, so you can always...
So better start a little bit lower and build up rather than going high and to drop back down again, overspending where you don't need to then. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Okay, yeah, I mean, into video 3, identifying and buying keywords. I've got timber, as you know what we do, we're a joinery company making external joinery. Timber windows, should this be a longer tail keyword? As you say, big companies should only use these, or should we, add something on the end of it, or should we just use that term? What do you think?
What terms, like, remind me some of the keyword types again?
You said longer, it's just timber windows because it's quite a broad group.
Yeah.
It could be quite expensive. Now, you saying don't use that at all and just use timber windows, Westbury timber windows, or various different towns that we do in, or what would you suggest?
Well, the timber windows with the town name will be where the biggest wins will be. They'll be the buying keywords because people are much more obviously looking for a provider to come and actually fit it, somebody to actually come out and do it. Whereas somebody looking for timber windows might just be researching, they're at the very top of the buying research chain, so they've not made their mind up who they want or what type of windows they want. So yeah, timber windows alone is dangerous. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, my problem would be that because we do the whole southwest, how many towns can I potentially put in? Because there's going to be people in small villages. Would they look in? You can't put every village, every town, Is it better to keep it into a sort of like more well-known, sort of like bigger sort of city, town or whatever? Because you'd have a hell of a lot of lists otherwise, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, start with the top 20 near you that are easier for you cost-wise to get to, so you're not going to spend too much on fuel getting there, and see what success you get with those 20.
Yep. Yeah, well, we've already got the areas set up for the old campaign, which is basically I'm circling round certain areas. Some of them say 20-mile radius. Well, I didn't necessarily want to do that, like encroaching onto, say, South Wales or something. I didn't want that, So I've circled different towns and areas, and it works in all those. On the new campaign, you'll sort of say maybe doing some geographically, but I don't know if that's of any benefit to us, or whether it's better to just keep the whole big geography of the whole town and just set one campaign to that and do it by product rather than geography.
Yes, yeah. I would do it by geography is probably better normally is the buying keywords, yeah.
Okay then. Move on to video 4, the keyword search. I take it is just one word, because if you put in more than one word, it can, not really recommend. Just need that one singular word per net.
That's it, yeah. So just one word, yeah. In its 3 forms. Are you still there? Can you still hear me? I've lost sound all of a sudden. It might be the internet connection for either one of us. Martin, I can't hear you at the moment. Martin, could you type in the box if maybe you could finish typing in the question on your box? Oh, right, okay, I've just had a little sign thing. Let me try unmuting you again. Are you there, Martin? Hello? Yeah, I can hear you again now. That was a bit strange. Yeah, are you on a phone or are you on an internet?
No, I'm on a headset. So yeah, I did get one in the end after you sort of saying, because I had the same problem as the last guy, and I thought, well, you said it's £2 from £2 or £3 from Amazon, and they're very good, lightweight, can't afford
right,
to. So,
yeah.
Totally recommend that.
Yeah.
Totally recommend that, yeah, I don't want to, like I say, I've got 4 or 5 questions here following on, but as I don't want to encroach on other people's time, because I'm quite aware of that.
Yes, okay, well, we can rattle through a few more, absolutely. Yeah, carry on, because these are all good questions. Yeah, everybody else will benefit from hearing them too.
That's fair enough. If anybody needs anything, just put a hand up and just sort of say, move over sort of thing, The modified term that you put in, the plus in front of, and then a space, and then a plus, and then mine would be plus timber, space, plus windows. Why the space? I can't understand why you need space, because you'd accidentally not do that sometimes.
Absolutely, and people do tend to do that. That's a very good question. Yeah, okay, because by putting the plus in front, you're saying make the word timber Google's allowed to find close variants to the word timber. The space in between is just the same as if it was written in English, timber windows. You'd have a space in between, wouldn't you? So the space is just to show Google these are different different words, and that the word we're not looking at isn't timber windows. You see what I mean? Roll it together.
Wouldn't the plus in between it done that then, or not?
No, it wouldn't. No.
Ah, right. Okay, I've learned something there. And could you do then the plus space plus Windows plus space plus town? Would that work? You know, and would you build it just quite broad like that first of all, and then get specific, or would you start specific? Because trouble is tracking all this, because like you start off just doing quite a broad one, and then you think if there's loads of other ones of these, would you better to move on to something, you know, all the broad ones, and then, you know, from there start to build more detailed ones, or do you do the broad one and detail them as you're going along? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I would start off with the longer one. So start off with timber windows and then the town name, and build as many of those as you possibly can. So build 20 of that with timber windows with 20 towns, and then that would be a starting point, to be honest. You could start running a campaign just with those, because those are quite specific keywords already, and you should see some results as a result just from those. And then start building it out further.
Yep. And they haven't got to be in uppercase, have they?
No, they haven't, no.
No. And each phrase term, do they need the towns on the end as well? So if you've got timber windows in there in the asterisks, you know, and then plus the the town.
They always need the town name, yes. They always need the town name written in the phrase and in the advert as well, so that it's a matching advert.
Yeah. Okay then. You've answered something on the next section as well. But the campaign structures, as I said to you before, I don't think geographically it would work for me, because, you know, in this like a small town I don't do, well, I do quite a reasonable amount of work, but obviously most of my work is set distance now, and as I said, the whole southwest of England, excluding Cornwall really, because it's just too far. So would it be better for me to set up the campaigns in, say, a Windows campaign, a Doors campaign, a Garden campaign, for me personally it would be better, and keep one area for all sort of thing rather than doing it geographically, because I'm not, you know, I can see what you're saying about the locksmith thing, but it doesn't really relate to me, you know. So.
Okay. Well, this is an example of a locksmith one that I was going to demo quickly, but no, you're right, it probably doesn't really apply the same. So it just makes it easier so that, for example, for locksmiths, obviously they might want to say, right, okay, today I want a day just sticking in my local area. I don't want to be driving miles. So they can actually pause a campaign, because it's much easier to pause a campaign than it is to go through a campaign and say, right, this ad group's for Bristol, this one's for Cardiff. You know, it makes it much easier. So from your point of view, if you don't have that, if you don't need to be able to pause it by area, then yes, you'd probably be better with campaigns for Windows, campaigns for Doors, etc., that type of thing. So yes, very good point.
Yeah, when they first set up, they only set it up as a campaign is Oak Tree. Why did they do that? Why didn't they do multiple campaigns? That's what I can't understand.
Because, you know, it was
time.
It was time, and it was also, you know, there are people who do AdWords who are maybe they're web designers. They've got some knowledge of AdWords, not a huge amount. They've not spent the 10,000 hours on it. I'm not sure if you heard about the 10,000 hours supposed to be being what you need, etc. So
I kind of feeling it now. I kind of feeling that there's going to be a big time, but I'm prepared to invest the time because I can see the benefits, and because I've used. Well,
you won't have to spend 10,000 hours. Don't worry, because obviously you've got the benefit of my knowledge, so you won't have to.
I mean, what will be a benefit to me is knowing how to copy and paste things that I've already done. You know, doing some, and I did notice on one of the ones I saw that a little bit more advanced, that you can build one campaign and you can sort of like copy the whole lot over again, which looks fantastic. I thought, Christ, I don't want to be doing this, because they might be just abbreviations of the same. Yeah. So when you might put Timberwolves Windows in, for me, you might have done Timberwolves, you know, Wiltshire. The next one you might have done Timberwolves Somerset, etc. And saying that, is it good to do months? Because I had somebody do a search and I asked them. Obviously, I'm trying to ask customers how they search now as well, which is quite rewarding. And some of them have used the county and some of them use town. So would it be paid to do counties as well? Yeah.
You could do. A few people do tend to search by county here in the UK, but they might do. But you know, it is unlikely.
This morning. That's why I say
Ah,
exactly what he said.
okay.
But
Which
research
county did
asked,
they search? Which county did they type in?
Wiltshire.
Right. Okay. So maybe Wiltshire regard themselves more as part of the county.
Yeah.
Whereas Bristol, we certainly wouldn't type in Avon, for example. Nobody would ever
Oh
type
God,
in
no, no,
Avon.
no. But I think Somerset, Gloucester, people like that, you know,
Yeah,
those
they obviously
counties.
feel part of their county.
Possibly, yeah, yeah. Well, I think
Mm,
Bristol and that changes, don't they? Or they've been into different counties as well.
that's it.
You
Whereas
lose the
we
recognition,
don't
don't you?
care. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
good then. So that's brilliant. Moving on to, oh yes, setting up for your first advert. The question on here would be AdWords to the action words to the advert. Very good that you put a strong sort of like term to get people of interest there. That's quite common in advertising where people use a must do sort of like first word, if you like. But could I also do, because our workload's dropped off a little bit, hence why I'm spending loads of time on promoting AdWords to try and bring it back again. Would it be good to put any something like seasonal discount now available, winter discount, January order discount, those sorts of things, or would you advise against that?
You definitely could put discount offers and codes in the ads. You definitely could try that.
Yep.
And deadlines, call by X date, for Christmas installation, for example, that type of thing. I'm not
Yep.
sure if that's a possibility.
Got it? No, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely,
Because,
yes.
quite time of year does extend slightly, it is genuine, do extend slightly higher discounts, whereas in the summertime we're inundated. But the peaks and troughs nowadays have changed so dramatically. When it used to be really quiet, sometimes you were really busy and vice versa. So
Yeah.
it's changed. Telephone numbers, I mean, I did see a thing, because a couple of mine, there was a reminder on Google sort of saying that a lot of numbers, they were taking out your ads won't run any longer or something.
That's
Does that
it.
include for telephone numbers, and are they trying to discourage people from putting telephone
Yes.
numbers in? Or?
In fact, I've got
Yes.
an identical question here from Mark actually asking about telephone numbers. Funnily enough, Mark's not connected by headset, so he's typed this question in. Telephone numbers are not allowed actually in the advert. So you can't type it in the advert anymore. You used to be able to do it. You can't anymore. What you have to do now is actually set it up separately. So if let me go and show you where the telephone number will appear, because this is relevant again for everybody. This is, everybody will benefit from seeing this. Okay, so what I've done is I've shown you an example where there's a telephone next to it here. Can you see that?
Yep. Yep.
Now that isn't part of the advert, it's actually a call extension. So if I click on add extensions.
Right. That's good.
Okay.
I'm glad because it's something I know nothing about this.
Yeah, okay, no, and you're quite right. It is something new that Google changed, but yeah, people used to put phone numbers in, but they can't anymore. So it's then view call extensions, and then you just quite simply add the new extension. So you just click here, extension, new campaign call extension, click the campaign that you want to add it to, and then you add your phone number. Okay, so it would be new phone number.
So why they changed that then in the advert?
Well,
Because you're still getting the number there, aren't you?
You are, yeah. Well, at the moment, it's quite interesting Google doing this at all, because of course, if somebody took that phone number and called them, Google don't get the click at all. They don't get paid at all in any way. So I'm surprised they're doing this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start charging us for even just for this to appear here soon. I should imagine that's why they were doing it, is they didn't want people to call for free. It was never a good idea to put the phone number in the adverts anyway, because people very rarely actually used it from there, and you were taking up valuable space in your adverts. So Mark, for example, Mark had a lot of these in his adverts. They aren't a good idea to put in the ad, because people generally are going to click your website. They want to see the website. That's why they're searching.
Yeah. It's as brief as possible, making the action happen, the most effect, isn't it? So getting at least the words you can get in there, but having the maximum effect, which is where probably the split testing on the adverts comes in quite well, doesn't it?
Yes.
Again, all that new to me, learned so much by, sticking with it and really, really living in, sleeping it sort of thing, but you've got to do it, you've got to get your head inside it really, you can't just devote an hour to it. It doesn't sink in. I think you've really got to do it over 2, 3, 4 nights and just be very intense with it, and then it all goes in, because it's quite a lot to take on board for a layman or to the new person starting like yourself and like all the other guys who just started. And although I got a little bit of background because I understood the layout of it, or it didn't freak me to see the layout of it. I didn't understand it all, but I kind of knew a little bit, so I had a little bit of a head start, but not much more than most. So it is a bit daunting, but you just got to stick with it, I think, and the longer you do it and the longer you stay by it, if you give up, and which I had done in fairness, but come back to it, think yourself, and I've really got to get on the case with this, because I knew how well AdWords was working for in the past.
Yeah. Okay, right. So I think I better move on now. We're going to run over slightly, but it doesn't matter. I'm more than happy to run over. Just to let you know as well that we've had comments from John to say that they are good questions. So just to let you know that people have benefited from hearing your questions as well. So thank you very much for for bringing them. So good luck with it, Martin.
One last question, very brief. Do you think I ought to delete the old campaign and start completely afresh with what you've seen from my audit, or would you just sort of say, try and rehash what I got there? Because it seems like a lot of work to do. And if I do, can I put these on hold until I need them, and you keep the old one running?
Well, it's entirely up to you. You can set up new ones. Well, most of the time when we set up from scratch, we set up brand new ones where needed. It depends how many ad groups there already were. If there's only a few and you can go and pause all the old ones, then we tend to just do that, go and pause the old ones. So it really does depend. I can't remember how many groups there were in there, Martin.
Yeah, I think I need to do some research on copying as well and what have you. But I'll let you get on to somebody else because you've been very grateful of your time, and let somebody else have their...
no problem. Yeah, okay.
Thank
right,
you very
speak to you soon then. Okay, bye for now.
Thank you, Claire. Bye.
Bye. Right, okay, coming to you next, John. So John, how are you?
Oh, hi, Claire. Yeah,
hello.
Good, thanks. Hi there, Claire. So that was very helpful, I think, those questions.
Absolutely, yes. They were lovely questions, yeah.
So just to be specific, I know I probably keep asking you these sort of similar kinds of questions, but with the campaign for hypnotherapy as a hypnotherapist in London, I just would like to go a little bit more into the buying keywords. And from what I understand, you've said that we need to add London or a specific kind of area in London to each of the phrases, really, for it to be a buying keyword. Have I got that right?
Absolutely, yep. You wouldn't ever want to bid just on hypnotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, or hypnotherapist for stress, anything like that. They would be very expensive keywords to bid on, and right. they're unlikely to buy. They're much more likely to buy from adding a location as well.
Right, okay. So if it was also then a particular condition, let's say anxiety, if it was just, say, anxiety, hypnotherapy, anxiety in London or something like that, does it need to be more specific, do you think, than in London, or would that be okay, do you think?
That would be fine, yeah. Probably you don't even need the word in, to be honest, because you're going to... The more keywords you come up with, the more likely your keywords, because the trouble is hypnotherapy, anxiety, London is probably already only going to get like 10 searches a month. Hypnotherapy, anxiety in London is probably going to get none, so I wouldn't even bother adding that. 4 words is a bit too long, because at that point you're going to get to the point where Google returns an error saying low search volume, because the number of searches just aren't worth, Google basically refuses to show it. It says number of people that search for this is so small it's never going to show. So it will trigger under the modified broad match under a similar group instead. So it's not that it won't show, it will just show against another group's modified broad.
Right, okay. And that's where I put in, obviously I haven't done this yet because we're just waiting to load up the things that I've done.
Indeed, yeah.
That would be the sort of plus with a space and then the word.
That's it, yes.
Yeah, okay. And if one of the things that I've noticed from a list that I was building using the Uber Suggest tool is that most of the conditions don't have a location attached to them when you do a search. In reality, there seem to be, well, maybe there are, but it's not showing up in the Uber Suggest tool anyway. For let's say it was anxiety, hypnotherapy, anxiety, let's say Wandsworth, then that isn't there. So
yeah, it might be that hypnotherapy anxiety London, like I said, will maybe only get 10. Hypnotherapy anxiety any area of London may end up having such low search volumes that it might not show. Now, we can't tell that until we've actually got the keywords in there, uploaded,
right.
and we actually see what Google says. Google will come back immediately and tell us low search volume once it's in there.
Right.
So,
okay.
so yeah.
Yeah, but the point you're making is if that's the case, then because it could be that there could be a condition where where the tag London also isn't searched at all, but the condition itself is. But that wouldn't be particularly helpful from my point of view, would it?
No, if there's, the trouble is lots of internet service providers are based in London, so if you were to do any bidding just on hypnotherapists for anxiety, your ads would be showing in Birmingham, Reading, Bristol. They'd be showing all over the place from people that wouldn't be willing to travel to see you. So I wouldn't suggest adding in any keywords that don't contain a place name in London for that reason.
So you're saying that that you can't really do it on a location basis then, because the ISP address could be anywhere in the country.
Exactly.
Many of them are based in London. Is that
That's exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So then, so it really does have to have a place then in each of the adverts for it to be helpful to me.
Indeed it does, yes.
And and so if I use Uber Suggest and there is a location that goes with it, then I know that there are searches for that. And if there aren't, then
that's it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good. Well, that's quite an important important information for me. Thank you very much, Claire. That's helpful.
Yeah. Okay. You're welcome, John.
I look forward to actually working on the account once it's.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I'll pop you back on mute, fine then. No problem.
Okay. Thanks, Claire.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bye for now then. Right, okay, so we did have, Polly has jumped on and off a couple of times, must have had a bad connection or something, because she's disappeared again now. So sorry about that, Polly, if you're catching the recording. Okay, I'll end it there and upload the recording very shortly, and I'll speak to you all next week. Bye for now.